Yeah. No, I mean, I'm speaking the fact. Okay, so this is definition of integral. Sorry, let me gonna check this.
Chase, I was able to waste like 5 minutes. What is that?
Okay, so summation and definition of integral practice. So now this is a short version. This is how you handle the multiple choice. Tomorrow we're gonna talk about long version. Actually distribute all this and simplify all this. It's actually not as hard as people think. It's actually pretty simple. So start with here. I'm gonna write on the bottom here. I'm gonna say this is this one I'm gonna write out. This is limits as n approach infinity of summation of I equal to 1 and f of a plus delta x I and times delta x is equal to integration to a to b of f of x dx. So I'm going to say this is the right endpoint, right Riemann sum, and that will be it. Okay, we're going to start with simplest thing. We're going to start with this dx here and dx here. So delta x is each width of a rectangle. Each width of rectangle. So let's just say if I would integrate between a to b, and let's just say if I have something like this, and a is equal to 1 and b is equal to 5, and let's just say if I want to write an approximation. Wait, why are you coming back?
Well, it's been 30 minutes.
Are you finished?
Oh, I did the first two.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you need to
Do
come
I-
back to finish the second.
Yeah. Do I just shave off 30 minutes off my time? After school, right?
Yeah, after school.
Or can I still go back to the first
No,
two for Q's or no?
No, you cannot. The second one's 1 hour. So it's 4 questions. Each question is 15 minutes.
Okay.
So delta x is b minus a over n. So in this case, it would be 5 minus 1. 5 minus 1 is 4. Now, depending on how many rectangle I want to do. If I do 2 rectangle, then each width. So let's just say is b minus a over n. N is amount of rectangle. But in this particular case, if I do b minus a over n, let's just say n is 2, then it's going to be 5 minus 1 over 2, it's going to be 2. So each rectangle is going to be width of 2. But the thing is, I don't want to just do 2 rectangle. I want to do infinite. So this is told you that here is the low bound. So here is the lower bound. And here is the upper bound. So you can say you start with one rectangle. It can go break up to n, and limit n approaching infinity is break up n to the infinite amount of rectangle. Okay? So that's b minus a over n. Now, this a is, again, is the lower bound of the integral. So lower bound integral. So this and this are matching. Do you see that? Do you see this and this are matching? Okay, so that's very, very important. That lower bound is, you start with that a. A is very, very important. And b, you have to figure out using the width, using this equation. Now, why is delta x? What is the delta x times I? Well, delta x times I is a counting. So the counting is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So basically, you're going to count with I equal to 1. You're going to plug in to find a width. So a lot of time people says, what does this mean? This means means the height of the function. And this means the width of functions. So dx is how wide the rectangle is. the f of something, that means you can plug in the x value into f. That's going to give you the y value, the height of the functions, right? Now, y is the right endpoint. Imagine that if you have this, right? So right endpoint. So this is going to be what? In this particular point, it's going to be a plus, well, a plus, it's actually f of, sorry, this point here. It's going to be f of a plus, well, 1. So 1 times delta x, because 1 rectangle. So in this case, it's going to be 1 plus 2, because we know is, if we assume b minus a over n is equal to 5 minus 1 over 2, if I do 2 rectangle, it's going to be 2. So I'm going to plug in f of 2. F of 1 plus 2 is f of 3. F of 3 is going to be the height of this. And multiply this is delta x. You multiply each time. Now, the idea is I want to break the infinite amount of pieces. Now, let's figure out this small things first. We're going to use this question. In this situation, can you represent this function as a definite integral? So what would it be a here? Well, what is a plus delta x times I in this particular case? It'll be 2 plus 3 over n times I, right? So what is a in this case? A is equal to 2. It's pretty much matching. Now, what would be b here? B is kind of hard to get. It is 5, because b minus a over n equal to b minus 2 over n. The only way to get 3 over n, b has to be 5, because 5 minus 2 is this. So it's 5. Is that okay?
How did you get A?
A is this part. A is this number.
Okay.
The delta x is going to be 3 over n.
You want me to just put the back on here?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay. Can you guys like organize that so it doesn't fall? Thank you. Now, f of x, what's the f of x here? What do you think f of x is here? No. What will be the function here that you can plug in? 2 plus 3 I over n. What will be the function? What kind of function you plug in 2 plus 3i over n is equal to 2 plus 3i over n parentheses squared? What kind of function would it be? What's the f of x? Yes? X squared is right. Because only if I plug in 2 plus 3i over n, if I plug in, it's going to be something square, that function has to be x squared. Does that make sense? So therefore, I can rewrite this. I can say that means integral of x squared dx between 2 to 5. You can actually evaluate this. X cubed over 3 between 5 to 2. And that's equal to 125 over 3 minus 8 over 3. That's equal to 117 over 3, which is equal to 39. So the answer of the first one is 39, but they just want an integral, which is this is the integral representation of that. So now you're going to try the second one. What will be the second one? So try it.
The general thing.
Men, you guys should be finished the first two part, right?
Okay, so the next
Because-
is I.
Yeah, it's 30 minutes.
That was it, alphabet.
And you can finish the rest today.
Start.
Okay. Come in at Davis. I know how much you love Davis.
He's
Huh?
not here today.
Wait, I thought the Science Olympiad was already finished.
He's not here today or tomorrow. Oh, he's going to see the first of his wife.
Yeah, that's why he couldn't come with us. Remember?
You're gonna see the eclipse with the wife. That's romantic.
It's your birthday. Oh, it's a complicated.
What? It's his sister.
I'm not saying anything.
Huh?
Wait,
The
what
guy's a player.
Man, what did you say?
Third wife.
So where you can afford? Alright. Ethan, I'm absolutely not stirring. Yeah, you lunch.
He's a player.
Mister, how many wives do you have?
One. Multiple side. No.
Okay,
Huh?
I'm talking about the one that she doesn't know about.
I'm just kidding. No.
Oh, what the heck?
One is too much to handle already. I don't know how you're gonna get multiple.
I'm not gonna, like, what? I think I-
Yeah, your final answer should get one draw.
Oh, where's the actual interview?
No, the integral is gonna be like something else, but the actual answer is gonna be one draw.
What did you?
I thought we were done with learning.
What is this?
What? All? Alright.
Okay. This is literally just
Chase, what did you
literally
get?
different one. What'd you get? What'd you get for A?
For A,
Is it 4?
I got
Yep.
4.
That's good.
Is
That's a
B
good start.
6?
I got 6 for these.
Yeah, okay. Is delta x 2 over n?
Yep.
That's what I got.
Oh my
You're
god.
doing great.
Is for a plus delta x, is that 4 plus 2 over n?
2i over n.
2I over what?
Yeah, you gotta remember the I.
Wait,
times
what over
I.
n?
At 8:45.
4 plus 2 over n times
On
I.
May 21st.
Over n 2n. Okay. I have no
Okay.
idea.
Who told me send me a diploma? I'm
I
gonna go
have
sleep.
no idea what f of x is.
I got one.
Here's my address.
I didn't even.
You know they will send it to you if you don't show up,
How do you get f of x?
or just come back to school to pick it up.
This is
That's me.
on the page. You have to look at what this is inside. So since it's on the bottom,
May
so if this is x, just replace that entire plate with x.
What?
So you would get 1 over
We didn't
x.
score 15. Really?
Okay, it technically
That's
could
kind of
be a lot
early
of
because
things.
usually we
I
hang
just don't
out
understand
like
how you even get that.
after.
Because I looked at the first question, that's how I did my stuff. But I don't know
No,
how
you
to
cannot.
make-
They don't let.
It
They
could
don't let you
technically
guys.
be a
come.
lot of different things, but what you want to do is
They
you
give
just
you
want to
problem.
do it as basically as you can. So
Like I usually played last week when we played basketball.
if you just have this, it's f of x equals x squared because this whole thing is squared.
Oh, at least my BC we played basketball.
Number 2, like the limits question.
Does that make sense?
So for the last question.
All right, so for this particular one, delta A is what? 4, right? B is what? 6. F of x is going to be 1 over x squared. And this one is going to be 4 plus 2i over n. And delta x is 2 over n. So that's going to be integration of 1 over x squared dx between 4 to 6. And that's going to be integration of x to the negative 2 dx. X to the negative 1 between 6 and 4. Negative. And that's going to be negative 1 over 6 minus 1 over 4. I think the final answer is 1 over 12. I have no idea. I didn't do it. You guys going to do the rest. This only account to one question on MCQ, so it's not a big deal if you don't understand them. But you're going to try to understand them.
Is this more relevant in BC?
Yeah, I talk about, I actually have a whole test on BC about this.
No, that guy right there.
Did you put a test back in the pile? Why is the piles all messed up?
I see it every day.
Oh, genius. Are you taking BC next year? You are? What are you going to major in? Yeah, you're going to calculus. Unfortunately. Now then, if you got a 5, you're going to take BC, okay?
If I get a 5. If I get a 5, I'll be in BC. I'll be your best student.
That's not true. You'll probably get a 5. That's what Paige says. I bet with Paige. So Paige, I was like, Paige, if you got a 5, you're going to take BC. And so Paige is like, okay, fine. So and the result he got back was a 5. And then I told her, she's like, I'm not taking BC. So I call her. I says, look, Paige.
You call her.
You
Yeah,
made a
no,
deal.
I literally just call her. I says, you are gonna take BC. And she's like, why?
You lost
It's
the
like,
bet.
you'll be fine. And then she take a BC and she dragged Basil with it. Basil didn't want to take BC, but Basil also got a 5. So I
remember
take
Basil.
and Basil and Paige and what's another person? Jake Hill also take. So 3 of them they end up taking it.
That's a great story. I'll see you in the
I
morning.
think I'm a genius.
Okay, great.
Think so?
You are a genius.
Yeah.
Mr. A, could you go back to the first example?
Huh?
Could you go back up to the first example?
Sure.